to write.
Wait a second. The Colts just signed Brissett to a $30 million deal. They really don't know what they're doing.
They just gave Brian Hoyer a 3-year guaranteed deal.
That is not true. There's no way that's fucking true.
Yep, $30 million deal.
Okay, well, that's the first thing we're talking about then.
2 years, $30 million.
Welcome, absurdists, to the Football Absurdity YouTube channel. Joining me are Brandon Andreessen, co-founder of the Fancy Boys Club and a Football Absurdity contributist, and local Chicago comic Mike Maxwell, also a Football Absurdity contributor. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Good to have us, Waleed. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. How about you, Mike?
Good. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we're going to get right into it. It was cut down day, and the NFL's been crazy. I just want to get your takes on what's been going on. First thing we're going to ask you about, Jacoby Brissett just signed, 5 minutes ago, a 2-year, $30 million contract extension. What do we think about that, Mike?
I mean, it's a Band-Aid. It's not an answer. And they can make a terrible decision while they're still hemorrhaging from Andrew Luck leaving. So they'll be like, okay, fine, we'll have this guy for 2 years. It's weird to think of an Ohio State quarterback as an answer. So,
Brandon?
Mike's right. It is a Band-Aid, but it's over a shotgun hole. There was just no way they were going to replace Andrew Luck at all. Jacoby Brissett comes in. They, of course, already just earlier today gave a 3-year, $12 million contract to Brian Hoyer. So if Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter, it makes sense to give him more money so they don't look like complete assholes bringing in a 39-year-old journeyman quarterback to back up your the guy who's actually been in the system for a little bit and is going to act as kind of a cure-all is definitely not the word, but he's going to be a stand-in for your season in which this team kind of had legitimate hopes to make a deep playoff run. Now it's just tread water or tank.
I'd argue that they already look like assholes because they killed Andrew Luck, and now they are giving Jacoby Brissett $30 million. What? How does that even happen? Like, Jacoby Brissett is not good at football. Brian Hoyer, also not good at football. I was fine with that contract because it wasn't $30 million. You know what that tells me? They know Andrew Luck's not coming back, and that is terrifying. So
I could have told you Andrew Luck wasn't coming back.
Huh?
I could have told you Andrew Luck isn't coming back. That guy's going to be on like HGTV in 2 years with his own architectural show where he gives rich people house makeovers.
Oh, God, I would watch that. I want to hear Andre the Giant pitching me house ideas. That sounds amazing. All right, on to the next one. Houston Texans, when Andrew Luck retired, have decided that they are all in. First off, they traded Jadeveon Clowney to the Seahawks. Brandon, what do you think of that trade?
The trade was so off the top of my head, I forget if it was this one or the other one. One of these trades was so bad, though, that if you would have put it in on Madden, the newest Madden game, Madden would have rejected the trade.
It was the Clowney trade.
It reeks of desperation. It reeks of a team that has no idea what they are doing right now, and they're being run bad. Just another rotten, dumb apple falling off the Bill Belichick coaching tree that's trying to coach and run a team at the exact same time.
Yeah, this is why you need a general manager. They do not have a general manager currently, and they traded a third-round pick. And they traded Jadeveon Clowney for a third-round pick and 2 players I couldn't fucking name. Jadeveon Clowney. In comparison, Khalil Mack, 2 first-round picks, one of the best edge rushers in football. Jadeveon Clowney, one of the best edge rushers in football, in the prime of his career. How does that happen? Mike Maxwell, you tell me.
I think that they weren't seeing the whole landscape of the actual team. They should have signed him for a longer term contract, but for some reason they only wanted to franchise him, which he's been healthier than J.J. Watt. So I think that's a terrible, perspective on him. Then they reached and got the O-line out of Miami, so they gave up a lot in 24, 48 hours.
That is a great transition because that's the next thing they did. They traded 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills.
Now, Like Tunsil's good. Like his numbers on the Dolphins, like he was able to reduce, sack numbers by 3% or whatnot, and then also the completion ratio went up when he was on the line, which is nice. But you still got to have a defense.
Yeah, you know what he wasn't able to do? Help the Dolphins win. So what do you think?
Nobody could. Nobody could.
The Dolphins were an absolute train wreck run by a horrible coach who keeps failing upwards into better jobs with his goddamn tiny little offensive coordinator, Dowell Loggins, in tow. But with Laramie Tunsil, it's worth remembering, Laramie Tunsil was in consideration as a top 3 pick just a couple years ago before he got caught with a gas mask bong and he dropped all the way down to the Dolphins in the first place. He's a really good left tackle. The problem is the Texans, going back to incompetent, just being incompetently run, they could have drafted an offensive lineman for years. They've been letting Deshaun Watson get murdered out there since day one, and this is the first time they've actually made an effort to solve it, and they did it so late in the preseason that they got absolutely fleeced over it.
Yeah, not just that. And this is what you get. You have to pay 2 first-round picks for an elite left tackle and just a guy wide receiver, but if you had invested second, third-round picks over the draft, you might have saved yourself that. You're right. You said it perfectly. They didn't prepare.
In Kenny Still's defense, he's pretty mediocre, but he's on the field more than any other wide receiver in Houston. Houston wide receivers get carted off a lot.
No, DeAndre Hopkins will be on the field. I mean, by week 8, it'll just be
Will Fuller is going to go down by week 4 or 5?
The guy and Kiki Kute too. Injury risks.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think being made of plexiglass is one of the criteria for the Houston Texans drafting you.
I think O'Brien gets fired this year.
If he doesn't make
he's one of the 3 favorites right now, betting wise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That division's wide open, and unless you believe in the Jags,
it's not. Nick Foles just closed it. Nick Foles closed it.
I'm going pretty heavy on the Jaguars now. I wrote my season previews for Fantasy Boys Club. I had the Colts taking the division. I really don't believe now the Colts can do it. The Jaguars were last year regressed back to the mean a little bit, in a lot of the same ways that people are expecting the Bears to regress back to the mean in terms of health and turnovers. They're not year by year. They aren't a good judgment, and they overachieved in 2017 with them. But if they come back up towards the middle, find a middle ground between 2017 and 2018, then you have a really good defense again. And Nick Foles has shown already in the preseason that he's got really good chemistry with D.D. Westbrook. If Leonard Fournette even shows some competence in the backfield, that could be a very good team this year.
Yeah. I mean, Fournette has publicly stated that he's not going to be a crybaby this year and mess up my fantasy league. So.
That's actually, he quoted him verbatim there, too.
Yeah.
The problem is he might not be a crybaby, but he might not be on the field. I don't trust Leonard Fournette to be healthy. He's been hurt since college. So,
I mean, that's an LSU running back for you. They come with one good ankle.
All right, well, moving on. LaShawn McCoy signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs. Do we think the Chiefs signed him to spite the Los Angeles Chargers? They'll always be San Diego in my heart.
They're the Carson City Chargers. I don't need this gussying up of where they're from.
What do we think?
It's window dressing. It doesn't matter. They have 7 running backs now on that team, and what are they going to do? Split carries on all of them? Damian Williams is going to be the lead back, but Damian Williams isn't a lead back. They drafted a guy whose name I'm not even bothering to remember. There you go. But now they bring in LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy was done 2 years ago. I know people don't enjoy watching Bills games. But if you did catch any of him, you'd see that the guy can't run for more than 3 yards anymore. He can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field, and he's just not good. Old running back fall off a cliff in a hurry.
Interesting side note, their quarterback last year, Josh Allen, rushed for more yards than LaShawn McCoy. That's all you really need to know, I think. Do you have any thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, McCoy he's the poor man's Adrian Peterson. You want him to have a legacy, but it's done. It's over. And the Kansas City offense is such a convoluted backfield that I wouldn't think that he's going to do anything. It would take at least 2 or 3 nights out in a Kansas City nightclub to get him higher up on the depth chart.
I'm sure he's willing to put into work, though. All right.
And it's worth noting that just look at the Bills. The Bills didn't think enough to keep him. They kept Frank Gore, who's 51 years old. They kept T.J. Yeldon. T.J. Yeldon lost his job last year to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde has lost his job 4 times in the past 12 months. And T.J. Yeldon couldn't keep his job there. The Bills are going to go with what, Devin Singletary or whoever, that's their running back now. And they go, nah, you know what? He's done. He's over. If the Bills think he's done, he's done.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the Bills just didn't want to pay him, to be fair. Like, he was going to make a lot of money for a team that wanted to see someone else. Like, they had other options, and why pay him? I don't know.
Yeah, he was a $6 million cap hit with very little dead money. It really didn't make a difference going into the season. It's not like they're going to go out and sign somebody now by cutting them.
That's fair. All right, moving on, guys. Moving on. Zeke, will he sign before week 1? Yes or no, and why?
No.
Goddamn better, but he won't. But.
So we have one who desperately needs him to, actually, because I apparently auto-drafted him, not Saquon Barkley, in my draft that I forgot about because I was recording this. So I have all the Zeke shares.
What do you want, NFL.com or CBS Sports? What pre-ranking system had Elliott above Barkley?
No, I was the 4th pick. I just saw the first pick. I thought I was giving you my picks in order.
I'll tell you when Zeke comes back. Zeke will play against the Saints. He can sign after the Redskins game when they're still 2-0 and then get 1 week of training in and then be ready for an actual game against the Saints.
See, I don't know that if they go 2-0, that hurts his leverage. So I
Tony
feel like they're going to hammer this out beforehand. What'd you say, Brandon?
It's going to depend if Tony Pollard comes out and craps the bed this weekend. All of a sudden, the precedent here in Dallas Cowboys terms is 1993. Of course, Emmitt Smith held out, said he wanted more money, and he didn't play. What happened? The Cowboys went 0-3 to start the season. All of a sudden, Emmitt Smith was paid, and he was on the field the next week.
So there you have it.
If Tony Pollard sucks this week, Ezekiel Elliott's going to have a very, very nice contract waiting for him Monday morning.
I believe that. All right. Last question before we wrap this up. Melvin Gordon. Does he show up ever?
He's an idiot, but no, I don't think he will.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I think he's stubborn. I get that he thinks there's certain value in what he does, but I think he picked the wrong time to hold out. Like, it's going to take a drastic injury somewhere so he can get a trade, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Problem is he has no leverage because he is still under contract, and all he's going to do is lose money. I think we'll see him at week 10 because that's when he has to report in order to hit free agency. But before
the general manager announced yesterday that they will no longer negotiate with him, and they're not going to give him a new. They said they now will not negotiate with him until the season is over. So he is out on a wire now. He's on his own.
Well, he's not the only one out on their own because this is the end of this podcast or YouTube channel. I don't know how to talk. Guys, this has been the Football Absurdity YouTube channel. Brandon, you have anything you want to pitch?
Yeah, fancyboysclub.com. We have new posts going up every day. Myself and Jack Baker are doing a ton of local comedian Jack Baker. Sorry. I have to keep. I assume everyone that listens to me knows him, and I realize no, this is just going out everywhere into the world.
Yep.
Me and local Chicago comedian Jack Baker will be doing heavy previews of the NFL season all week this week, and we have tons of other stuff going up every day. Podcasts, YouTube, everything. Come check us out. FancyBoysClub.com.
And Mike Maxwell, what do you have going on?
Sure. My site's MikeMaxwell.org. I've got a lot. Live album recording at the Heist in Ripon, Wisconsin on September 14th, and then down at the Comedy Shrine in Aurora on the 20th and 21st. I will be doing the one-man show I've been doing for 4 years, the Anti-Boss, and then headlining the 10 p.m. show.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on this, and hope we see you again.